Kendra. Let me make sure my sound is good. Okay. Okay. So, Kendra, can you hear me? I just want to make sure of my sound before I get going and my sound is off. I think I made sure I fixed it the last time. We should be good moving forward. Okay. Thank you, Kendra. So, it's Tuesday night, and it's a little after 7, but it's 7 o'clock. And I'm going to do what I normally do, which is talk about a little information. So, this month, April, is autism awareness, autism acceptance, autism appreciation. To me, the thought is it's all about making sure we are having conversations with others to increase, hey Yoki, to increase the understanding of autism so that we can build a more inclusive community. So that's what it's all about for me. Now, having said that, what I want to talk about today is, and I guess let me introduce myself. My name is Tanika Butler. I am an autism parent and a retired educator. I am the lead consultant for Kendall Autism Support and Consulting. And so I provide training services for schools and businesses to help them better understand autism. So here we are. On Tuesdays, I come to you with a different topic to discuss because, yes, I provide those services through Kendall Autism Support and Consulting, but I also come on Tuesday to kind of provide, a little insight to learning more about autism. If you have not, I strongly encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter, and I'm going to drop that. Let's see. In the chat as well to receive additional information. I mean, I have things I talk about right now, but our newsletter provides you with more information and action steps. So I want to talk about support and what that means. So when I think about support, I'm thinking about, that family with autism, and maybe they're new on the journey, maybe they've been on the journey, whatever the case may be, but they need support. Now, when I say support, a lot of times, because of the resources I have available, a couple of years ago, I wrote our story, which is in the link, A Crusade for Kendall. And also, after writing the book, I created Building Bridges, a support workbook. And from that, because I understand the importance of self-care on this journey, I then created the Mindful Activity book. But I want to talk about the Building Bridges, the support workbook. I think a lot of people, and I made a quick video today pointing it out, that I hear people, I have this exchange with so many people, and they'll say, oh, my nephew or my niece or my cousin's son is on the spectrum. I need to tell them about your book. Well, yes, you can tell them about my book. That is a great thing. But I think somewhere in there we've forgotten that maybe we need to buy the book. We meaning everyone else. So for some reason we have in our mind that, oh, I don't need a autism support workbook because it's not my child. But if you love that person and you love their child, then you want to make sure you are, leveling up to the best knowledge when it comes to autism than anything else. That you're not just guessing about things. So you're looking for resources, you're staying up to date, you're keeping up so that you're able to step in and provide that support. So I want to move away from this whole thing of people telling me about the autism parent. That's great. But I need other people to realize, guess what? You need a resource as well to support them. That's what support is all about. Support is making sure you have understanding. So for tonight, I just want to remind people that support is not just about, hey, how you doing? Support comes in many different ways. And I'm just going to hit on a couple of things real quick. Of course, making sure you have a resource, that's one thing. You know, listening, when that person needs to talk, sometimes they're really not solution seeking. They just need to vent. That's it. They're not really seeking solutions from you. They really just need to vent and get it off their chest without judgment. That's a big thing. You know, we don't want the judgment. Another thing is to make sure you're showing them love and encouragement and understanding, and that you are letting them know that they're doing a good job. You're reminding them that they're doing a great job. They're not just out here by themselves on this journey, because this journey has highs and lows. And so we sometimes forget about those highs and lows, because depending on the person, you may only see the highs. With some people, you may see all, the highs and lows. Some people, you may only see the lows. But on this journey, we definitely need support. So we want to make sure that we don't think, when I talk about the resources I have, that they're only for, the parent or that immediate caregiver. No, those of you looking to support them, this resource is something you need as well. So that's something we want to make sure we have in our mind, that the resource is not just for the parent. The resource is for anyone who loves someone on the autism spectrum, and you want to be there to support them. That's what it's all about. So keep that in mind. It's not just for the parent or the caregiver. Now, when I talk about that support, sometimes support is not going to necessarily come from your immediate family. Maybe they're not close by. Maybe they don't seem to understand, whatever the case may be. But no, you need to try to build you a village of support, people that you can turn to when things are not going their best, when you need someone to step in, and in the case of an emergency. And I always say, don't wait until the emergency to try to figure out who your support person is. And so with that person of support, that's where, if you are the person they're telling you, hey, I've put you down as a person of support in case of an emergency, then make sure you are, knowledgeable about autism and about that individual, so that you're able to support them during that time. One of the most stressful situations, I have to say, is worrying about when Kendall is in the care of other people. Do they really understand her and understand autism and understand all of her quirks and ins and outs and everything, to try and keep her as calm as possible? And sometimes you can know all of that and it can still go left. But the goal is always to make sure the individuals that are interacting with her, that they do have knowledge, they do understand Kendall, and they understand, how to communicate with Kendall, how Kendall understands communication. So those things are really important. So when I created this resource, what came to mind for me was, there are so many books that you can read. I still read books because I'm a lifelong learner. I enjoy reading. I enjoy learning something new every day. However, I know that time is limited when I'm saying support someone and you trying to learn information about autism and learn best support strategies. So I created this workbook, and the workbook is designed so that you're not reading chapters to gain information. You're gaining information from one page. You're gaining information from one page with a strategy of support. So that's what it's all about. When we're talking about transitions, we're talking about, no surprises. When we start to think about skills as in can't do versus won't do, there's a difference between what I can't do and what I won't do. And so we need to understand that sometimes when we're putting demands, they may not be able to do it yet, but we need to understand can't do and won't do are two different things. So understand, this resource is not just for parents. It is for anyone who loves someone that's on the spectrum. That resource is going to better prepare you in the time of need, so that you're able to provide in situations compassionate accommodations. What's that? If we go into a setting and we're going to be inside, a compassionate accommodation from someone is Kendall is going to bring her portable DVD player. That means she's going to need to plug it in, and that person understands and clears a space for her to sit with that portable DVD player, so that she's somewhat out of the way, but she's still in sight where we can still keep our eye on her. So that's a compassionate accommodation. And those are things that we want to make sure we understand when we say we love someone with autism. Loving them means making sure we are best prepared to support them, that we truly understand what what the parents are talking about, and that the parent is not always having to try and explain something to you. So know that that resource is not just for parents. Going back to making sure you listen without judgment, that's very important as well. And so I wrote our story. And then from our story, of course, I created the workbook, and then I created the activity book, so that when you do have just those 10 minutes, that you're able to recharge yourself and mentally come back to the table and do what you need to do. Because I understand being a parent, a parent and anyone, everybody gets stressed out. So that mindful activity book is just for anyone, because we all want to come back to being refreshed and recharged after 10 minutes. So that's that when it comes to resources. Now, what we've got to start thinking about and we've got to start discussing is, I know this is April, I know this is testing season, but guess what? This school year is wrapping up. We're 7 weeks, from ending the school year. We've got to start planning for next year. How do we plan for next year? We cannot do what we did this year and expect something different to happen. So if we know this school year we dealt with a lot of challenges in the classroom, challenges because our teachers just didn't understand and didn't know, then let's make sure we're not facing those same things going into the 24-25 school year. What we want to make sure when we think about, and teachers are asked what they want when it comes to students they have in their classroom on the spectrum, they want professional learning. They want training. They want resources. They want to be able to get the resources they'll need to support that student in their classroom properly. So those are things right now. I know we're thinking about testing and it's consuming everything, but we cannot not think about next school year. And so we want to start making sure. Most teachers, even though we're off during the summer, we still are thinking about that upcoming school year. So let's start thinking about, hey, after testing, what are we going to do to get ready for next school year? Right now, a lot of you, school leaders, you have funds sitting available. Give your teachers a resource. That's what this resource is I created. It is to make sure we are able to best support students on the autism spectrum. Don't give them another t-shirt. Don't give them another bag. Give them something they can actually use. Something they can flip through and say, okay, this is something I can use in my classroom. That's what it's all about when we talk about April, and April being autism awareness, autism understanding, autism appreciation. When it's all about autism, that we want to make sure we're not just, oh, we bought some t-shirts and we wore our t-shirts on the 2nd and then that's it. No. If we really want to make a difference, then we've got to make sure we're putting resources in the hands of our educators so they can best support students on the spectrum. And so that's really all I want to talk about tonight. I know I just want people to understand that support comes in many forms. Right. Thank you, Tanya. Yes, something they can actually use. It's so important. The t-shirt is great, but I promise you we have enough t-shirts. The bag is great. We appreciate it. But understand, something an educator can actually use. If I sit and think about my years in education, that was 27 years, I'll reflect on the last post-pandemic years. No one ever gave me a resource to actually support students on the spectrum. I found a lot of resources. I was my own resource, and I was a resource to others. But right now, we got to do more than just that. I created a resource with educators in mind who don't have a lot of time. That's really what it comes down to. I create a resource for those who love someone on the spectrum that you don't have a lot of time. So the link is in the comments to purchase the resource. And actually, let me see. I'm going to actually include the link just so you can get. There's a 10-page download that I have that's free of the book, so you can actually take a look at the book before you purchase it. So let me get that information so I can put that in the comments section as well. But let's make sure right now, school leaders, that we are really and truly thinking about this 24-25 school year, that we are preparing our teachers, because once testing ends, you still have students in your building, and you've got to make sure that you know what to do, because you're going to start disrupting that flow, because you're going to start having so many activities. And it's not, I've heard people say this, oh, you know, the student that's on the spectrum, he's acting out or she's acting out because they don't want to go home for the summer. That's not the case. They're acting out. They are actually overwhelmed is what it is, simply because the schedule keeps changing. The predictability is no longer there. So let's see. Let me get this link, and I'm going to drop the link in the comments as well. Give you access to the, grab this freebie. You take a look before you actually purchase the book. But we want to make sure we're thinking about next school year, and we can't go into next school year doing the things we did this year expecting results. So support is not just about saying, hey, there's a book you need to get. If you love someone with autism, then you need to get the resource as well. So if you have not, follow me on our page. Well, subscribe to our newsletter. The link is in the comments as well to get more up-to-date information, more information about support, and, a lot of call to actions and things you can actually put in place as well, because I believe in giving information that's useful. So have a great one, and I will see you all in these Facebook streets.